Imagine a textbook that is alive. A learning tool that can carry a student to the bottom of the sea, to the edge of a volcano, to the heart of a rainforest, to practically any place on Earth. Now, imagine that this living textbook is not only alive, but is also interactive. This wonderful textbook of the imagination is not something simply to dream about. It has been made a reality. Its first chapter was written in the spring of 1986 by a group of educators, scientists, and technicians who conceived and assembled the world's first electronic field trip. This live, one-hour satellite broadcast united a classroom of students in the Midwest with a science teacher 1,600 miles away, as together they explored the marine life surrounding a sunken wreck on the seafloor off Washington State.
All right. Feels good. We'll catch back up with you here in just a little bit.
Although the technical capability had long existed, until now, no live satellite field trip had ever been offered to a nation of students. Satellite uplinks had been used extensively for sports, news, talk shows, and public affairs. This broadcast would be different. It applied the existing technology to a unique educational format, allowing students in one part of the country an opportunity to participate actively in a learning experience taking place thousands of miles away. Called Project Uplink, this experiment in learning was designed to test this new tool for communications, and its success marked the beginning of a new era in educational delivery systems. The electronic field trip was born.
Now, our divers are on the bottom now. Let's switch to our divers. Okay. Okay. Hi, kids. Can you hear me still? If you can.
The first electronic field trip originated from the seafloor near Edmonds, Washington, just north of Seattle. Among the people gathered on the shore of Brackett's Landing a few days before the broadcast, there was a pioneering spirit. Michael Jones, teacher, photographer, aviator, and one of the finalists in NASA's Teacher in Space program, is the person who first conceived the uplink idea. He recalls his feelings as technicians assembled hardware and cables.
It was hard to believe that it was actually going to happen. Our first live satellite delivery program that potentially could reach students all over the world. We were going to take kids electronically underwater, not just take them, but let them be a part of it, to talk to the diver, to talk to me, to get involved. As a teacher, this was incredible.
The headquarters for the first uplink was an oceanographic vessel operated by Seattle-based Pacific Marine Research. PMR, a nonprofit education organization, conducts marine science field trips on Puget Sound. Using underwater television cameras, video microscopes, and other sophisticated equipment, PMR gives students an exciting look at what life is like in the undersea environment, the place where life itself began.
I bet you're all wondering what it's like to dive underwater. For me, it's the closest thing on Earth to experiencing the weightlessness of outer space. As a matter of fact, many astronauts use diving as a means of training for outer space. Except now, we're no longer on Earth or in outer space, but we are in inner space. And rather than seeing and being surrounded by celestial bodies such as planets and solar systems, we're surrounded by such things as a galaxy of sea stars. So follow me here now and let's embark on a journey to see what we can find.
PMR developed the lesson plan and assembled the technology that would become the first electronic field trip. The broadcast signal originating from the PMR vessel anchored offshore would be transmitted to a satellite Earth station in Seattle, then uplinked to the Westar 4, a communications satellite. Westar would then beam down the signal to receivers throughout the country. More than 2,000 schools in the United States have the equipment enabling them to receive this direct satellite broadcast. At one of these schools, West Hills Middle School near Detroit, an additional communication link via telephone lines would be made with the PMR vessel, half a continent away. This would allow the students to talk directly with the diver biologist, to respond to his questions, and ask questions of their own.
Okay, let's get Missy Morgenroth up. I want to ask Missy a question. These plumose anemones, I was wondering if you could tell me whether these were plants or animals.
Animal?
Yes, they are animals. Great. Everybody at Middle School, give Missy a big hand there. Go ahead, clap for her.
On May 19th, 1986, Project Uplink became a reality. It was exciting, spontaneous, and entertaining.
Well, look at all those 2 feet. Could you tell me maybe what this sea cucumber is related to?
A starfish?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The 7th and 8th graders in Michigan, most of whom had never before seen salt water, were enthralled. Sharon Newman, a teacher at West Hills and one of Michigan's Teacher in Space finalists, described her students' reactions.
What made the program so powerful was that Uplink was a double-dip learning experience for my kids. They were in awe of the little marine animals, never having been near saltwater before, and yet they were equally excited about the communication technology involved. My students took a field trip to the bottom of the ocean, and they never even got their feet wet.
Okay.
Okay, dinner is
Okay,
served.
there.
Got it? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, here it comes. Oh my, look at this. Woo! Okay, what have we got?
Project Uplink caught the imagination of a nation.
Something new in education was shown off today, the high-tech field trip. It's a new use for the satellites out in space. NBC's James McCullough reports tonight it lets students in the Midwest explore undersea life in the Pacific without leaving their classrooms.
For the first time, students in Winona, Minnesota and in Michigan experienced what some kids thought was impossible. Divers off the coast of Seattle, exploring marine life in a sunken ship, and talking with students in the Midwest from the ocean floor via satellite.
Is Jill Spillman in the crowd there? Jill, is that you?
Yeah.
Such technology has given new meaning to the idea of a field trip. A student no longer has to leave the classroom.
Well, I've never seen a sea cucumber before.
Little kids can learn about the sea before they're even in 4th grade.
Organizers of satellite field trips see this as a new age in education.
This could be the cutting edge of a new delivery system in teaching some concepts in education.
In memory of Krista McAuliffe, the first teacher in space, 8 other teachers who competed for her place came in to reinforce the significance of today's event. Despite the shuttle disaster, one teacher told a class, the challenge in space must still be met.
We're going to head back over this way.
It is the hopes of educators and the space agency that business will help bring more field trips like this one to the classrooms and stimulate a new curiosity in science.
Would you like to hold one? Here it comes.
James McCullough, NBC News, Winona, Minnesota.
The first chapter of this electronic book of knowledge has been written, but what will future chapters hold? Already, planning is underway to take students from all across the nation on a geology trip to the edge of an active volcano. There, they will learn firsthand how volcanoes are formed, see the results of an eruption, and discover how man and nature work together to heal the environment after the devastation. Subsequent topics have yet to be chosen, for the future of electronic field trips is just beginning to unfold. The potential is unlimited. The potential for expanding millions of young minds and achieving new links in human understanding is also unlimited.